Hey everyone, Rich Bennett here. I'm excited to tell you about something we're doing for National Recovery Month. Here at Conversations with Rich Bennett, we're holding a special event called the Podathon for Recovery, 12 Days of Hope. For 12 consecutive days, we'll release a new episode dedicated to powerful conversations about addiction, recovery, and hope. And we're doing this to raise vital funds for an incredible nonprofit, Rage Against Addiction. They are on the front lines providing sober living homes, recovery coaching, and essential support to families. We believe recovery is a journey worth celebrating, and your support can make a tangible difference. Every donation, no matter the size, goes directly to them, helping to save lives and provide a second chance. So please join our mission. You can start donating right now. Simply go to conversationswithrichbennett.com and you'll see the donation thing right there so you can donate and help these women in recovery. Welcome to a special episode of Conversations with Rich Bennett. This is a part of our Podathon for Recovery, 12 Days of Hope, our mission to raise money for Rage Against Addiction. My co-host Wendy Beck and I will be sharing powerful stories of addiction, recovery, and resilience to help break the stigma and show that hope is always possible. Your support helps Rage Against Addiction provide life-changing resources, and you can donate right now by visiting our GoFundMe link in the show notes. We are so grateful you've joined us on this important journey. Now let's get into today's conversation.
So we're here today recording for our Podathon for National Recovery Month. And as you know, if you've been listening, we've had some wonderful stories of women's resiliency and going from active addiction to recovery to their life after. And it's been transformable. Is that a word? Yeah. Is that even a word? I don't know.
Transformative.
Yes.
You said it, so it's a word.
Okay. And so today we have Madison with us. Hi, Madison. How are you?
I'm doing well. Thank you.
She is our last recording for this series. So we have accomplished so much. We have accomplished so much, and we're so happy you're here.
I didn't know you were going to be the last until she just said that.
It does feel like a statement a little bit.
Yeah, it is. No, it's a success on that we got people to share.
I love that.
And the sharing has been so different. Everyone's story is, I guess remarkable in what they've went through and where they are now. So we're going to let you just kind of...
It's been fun. I mean, we've had some laughs. As you could tell, we ran out of Kleenex.
Yeah, we are using toilet paper.
Oh, wow.
But no, I mean, I have to give all these women credit. Number one and you as well for coming on and sharing your story.
Mm-hmm.
Because there are a lot of people still are not comfortable doing that. And when we raise awareness, and we've already had people, not for the Podathon, but for other episodes we've done, people from other countries reach out and contact us because they've heard a certain episode with a guest and it's helped them. So your stories are important.
Yeah, absolutely. And, I can understand that because at first when I was in early recovery, I didn't feel comfortable sharing my story. It probably wasn't until I was 3 years sober that I was really confident in what I was saying when I was speaking to people. Now, it truly comes from the heart. I haven't spoke to a crowd or shared my story in some time, but it's something that I come in here today with really confident about because it just comes naturally now,
So how long have you been in recovery?
I have been in recovery since March 5th of 2021 is my clean date. And I'll, just start from the beginning. I would say when I think back to my earliest memories and those feelings, I just remember feeling alone. I can't pinpoint why, but I remember feeling alone. There was a lot going on at home. So the attention was elsewhere. I do have siblings that are older than me. They struggled with active addiction while I was really young. So the chaos of that took place. And there was, to put it lightly, people in the home that just didn't know how to communicate properly. So at a pretty early age, I started struggling with mental health. I believe now when I look back on it, that was probably a mix of childhood experiences, family history, um, things like that. But I started struggling with mental health at an early age. And I remember reaching out to somebody about it and being told that I was ungrateful because I had things
Can I
and
ask how old you were?
I was probably 11
Wow.
at the
That's
time.
just a little girl at that time.
Yeah, and
Honestly.
as a 30-year-old woman now, I look back at an 11-year-old who was, like, contemplating suicide,
Oh, my.
and I think about how someone so young could feel that way.
Yeah.
Wow. Even to know that that was a thing. I know it's definitely more common today. I mean, we hear about it more, but that's been a while, you know.
Yeah. Yep. And we see that on the rise now, and there's so much that contributes to that.
Especially since COVID, too. It's been on
Absolutely.
big.
Society, our brain chemistry, family history. There's so many things, but we see it, you're right, more often now in younger kids. It's still like even having gone through it myself as someone grown, it's hard to look back and think like, what was going on that had me feeling so low at such a young age? But I struggled like that for a long time. So, that was my first experience reaching out to someone. It obviously wasn't the response I had hoped for or that I needed. And that kind of shut me off. And when I look back on it now, I see that shut me off substantially for a long time.
Just kind of thinking I need to keep this to myself.
Yeah, for
Okay.
sure. Like people don't understand this, which contributed to that feeling of alone.
Right.
Like nobody was understanding this feeling. So I dealt with that for several years through high school. There was behaviors along with it, that were not productive to a healthy lifestyle. When I got into high school, I did well in school, but I still struggled internally. I hadn't really started using any substances at that point, drinking any alcohol or anything like that. Um, but I see that the behaviors of active addiction started for me really heavily there in the form of an abusive relationship. That was something that I had seen others go through, and same with addiction with my brothers. You see people go through these things and you say, that will never be me. That's never going to be me. And then you find yourself in the depth of it.
Right. So you had an abusive relationship in high school is what you're saying?
I did.
Okay.
I did. And similar situation when I look back at that, I was 15, 16 when it started. And what was so serious back then that had a 15-year-old in that situation? It's still hard to grasp things like that, but now today I find the answers to all those questions in different ways. So that took a big toll, and it was in that relationship that I found substances for the first time. Narcotics was my substance of choice. It started honestly rapidly. Like it wasn't a story where someone did one time and then a couple months later again. It started rapidly and progressed quickly. Through those years of high school, I was still having a lot of trouble feeling alone. Not reaching out for help due to the circumstances when I was younger. But I was able to skate by so easily without people really recognizing what was going on. I was getting good grades in school. I was working a job. I was making my car payment. I had a car, all of those things. So I really was able to use for several years before people started catching on.
And were you addicted at that point?
For sure.
Okay.
For sure. There was physical addiction, mental addiction. I was progressed off pills onto far more things at the point still that nobody was realizing what was going on.
And we just talked about this too, and we've had other guests on the same thing. People would look at you and not even think that you were addicted.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, my family had no idea. Even with 2 older siblings that had struggled or were currently still struggling with addiction at that time, like, they just weren't catching on. I think a lot of that relates back to, like, how much attention is there to give when you have so many people struggling, with single parents. So I look back now as an adult, and I think, like, there were times in those moments where I blamed my parents or things like that, but, now I look back and they were dealing with so much.
Right.
That right there, we just want to stop because that happens so much.
Mhm.
And I know that, as a parent, we go through divorce, we go through grief, we go through all of these things, and we don't necessarily realize how it's affecting our kids.
True.
100%. Yeah.
And them verbalizing it, we were talking about this earlier too, where they're feeling emotions, they're feeling feelings, and we're just kind of like, you're fine, don't worry about it. It's just, this is just a stage in your life. But that's not what was happening for you.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I would say the biggest thing, when it comes to my childhood that really played a big effect in me growing up and still as an adult was just the lack of communication.
Yeah.
Things weren't spoken about because it's like there wasn't the capability there without getting angry or getting upset or yelling or belittling. So instead of going that route, like it's that or it's not speak about it at all.
Got it.
Not a lot of education either
Absolutely.
especially for parents on how to deal with stuff like that.
Absolutely. And my neither of my parents ever struggled with substances.
Yeah.
So in their minds, and these are things I see now, in their minds, they have 3 children. All 3 of us struggled. Neither of them, they probably had no idea what to do.
Right.
Right.
And
Sure.
on top of dealing with the 3 kids, they had their own personal struggles, like you were saying. And when you grow up and you become an adult and you have your own kids, you're able to see those things so much more clearly. And it really changes your whole perspective of your past and all those things. Because I'm not going to lie, like in those times, in those moments, even up until, multiple years into sobriety, I blamed them.
Right.
And that wasn't right. Like it was me that needed to take responsibility for a lot of the blame that I was placing. So, I got through high school. I went off to college. I did really well in college. Actually, I graduated from Towson University
And
on
you
my
were
dean's list.
addicted at this time?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, using
This
heroin.
is not the first person that has said this.
No, I
This
know.
is, I'm not saying that your story is not unique.
It's surprising.
But it is
It's very
literally
surprising.
like surprising. And I always say how resilient we are, even in addiction, that we can accomplish the things that we accomplish.
100%. So no one knew. I just graduated college on the dean's list, but I was doing heroin.
Wow.
Oh, shit.
Nobody knew. After college, things seemed to take a turn. I was introduced to a new crowd of people, and now I know that we don't place the blame, like we take responsibility, but people, places, and things is real.
Yeah.
Addiction just took off from there. Was using more, started finding myself now in a new level of active addiction where I'm getting in legal trouble. I'm arrested for the first time, and within 3 years, I'm arrested 20 times.
Jesus.
Wow.
So
Now people know.
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm not, I'm open about my story. It's not a secret. You can go and you can get the information, or at some point you were able to. And I've worked, I grew from that person. That's not who I am.
Right.
That's just who I was. And today, like, I'm confident in who I am, and I'm proud of who I am. And it wouldn't be right of me to lie about who I was, because there's somebody else that's that person now and, like, doesn't want to be anymore. And they need to know that's possible,
So how did you find recovery from that place?
So ultimately, addiction got bad enough that people caught on. My family caught on. It got to the point where I was no longer welcome. They cut me off. It took several tries. In those times, you feel like, how could they? But it saved my life.
Yeah.
It was just too much. They had, like I said, 2 older siblings. They had started to realize that there was nothing they could do. I was lying, I was cheating, I was stealing, I was doing all the things, and I was taking them down with me. And I fully understand that now. So they had given me an ultimatum at one point. I believe it was treatment or legal charges. I went. That was a process for several years. I went to several different inpatient treatment programs. I completed some. I left some against advice. I left some and didn't take the suggestions for aftercare that they gave me. I left some and I would negotiate which ones I was going to take. Okay, I'll do sober living this time, but not there. I'm going to do it here because they don't have blackout and I can have my phone right away. And it never worked.
Did you feel like you were in control of your own addiction?
I was trying to be at the very least,
Okay.
I was at least trying to be. So it never worked. And in those times, I'm internally struggling with, like, what the hell? I'm doing everything right. I'm doing all the things. Why isn't this working? Like, this just isn't going to work for me. And, like, I'm just meant to die this way.
Oh.
Wow.
So eventually I came to a place where I was facing substantial charges. I remember detoxing in the cell, and I fell to my knees. And I'll never forget that feeling of desperation. Like, that I would do anything to get out of there and change my life, which we hear that all the time, right? Like, you only talk to God when you want to make a deal. But, like, in that moment was just a glimmer of hope. And I told myself that if the opportunity came, I was gonna do the right thing. So I sat in there for a while. There's a wonderful advocate in the place that I was at.
Is it local? Were you in the
It is
in
local.
the county? Okay.
She advocated for me to be released to treatment. It was approved by a judge. My family, who hadn't talked to me this whole time, worked really hard. My mom paid money to get me insurance immediately to get me into a program. That's the first I had spoken to her since I was arrested.
Wow.
So she was there.
How long were you there before you got to leave? I mean, a month, 2 months, a year?
3 months.
3 months.
At that time.
Okay.
For the several months before then, I was in and out, in and out, in and out, in and out, like 2 days out, back in, because I couldn't stop. I couldn't stop doing whatever I needed to do to get what I wanted. So my mom was there, like, they were there, but they were ready to be there at the right time where they could actually do something to help.
Right.
I was transferred to a program in Pennsylvania. It was a wonderful program. It was Caron Treatment Facility, Caron Treatment Center in Pennsylvania. Wonderful program.
And what made that different for you? Was it timing? Was it the program?
Or
I think
even
it
being
was
out
that
of state?
moment. No, I mean, the program was wonderful, but I think it was just me. It was me that was different this time.
Right.
It was me that was different this time. I was tired. I knew the only options were die or change.
Yeah.
which now I tell people all the time, families that I talk to, parents that I talk to, people typically don't choose to change until it's the only other choice.
Right.
Which is why, like, yes, it's so hard for families to withdraw. It's so hard for families to cut off. And, we don't know that that's always the answer, but we know that when people have other options to lean on, change is typically the last choice they make. So I got...
And that could go for years too, though.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And that's really hard.
A lifetime.
As a parent, that had a child that struggled, you want to keep that, like, I'm going to say, string that you're attached to them in some way. You're paying for their phone.
Yeah.
You're following up with them. You're giving them money. You're doing all of this stuff because you're
You
fearful
love them.
and you're afraid they're going to die.
Yes, absolutely. It's one of the things I'm most sorry about is that, like, I had my family feeling that way, like torn in that place of we want to save you and we don't know how,
Mm-hmm.
I'm a parent now. It's my biggest fear, my kids potentially going through some of the things I've gone through. And what would I do? I know what's right, but when you're in that situation, what does your heart do?
Right. Yeah.
So I got out of care and I completed successfully. I got out. I went straight into a local sober living program. It is no longer around for women, but it was at the time. I was there for a couple months. I was court ordered. While I was there, they decided to close the program to women and reopen under a new name as a men's facility. So a lot of the local houses filled up quickly. There was not beds for everybody. I ended up moving into a townhome with a friend of mine who was in recovery. It was probably pretty early, but I was really motivated. I did find myself, after moving out of that sober living house, I did find myself struggling because that structure was good, and it was probably a little soon. It wasn't the plan.
Right.
Things veered off course. But I stuck to it. I was honest about my struggles. I spoke to people like, look, I'm almost a year sober at this point, and I'm feeling like I'm nearing a relapse, which when I look back on it, that 9-month mark, I always seem to struggle around. You like start feeling a little better. You know what I'm saying? And you kind of start to forget the pain a little bit. But I worked through it. I had some wonderful people that are involved in Harford County who were there to guide me, who were there to hold me accountable. I give a huge shout out to the Harford County Drug Court program.
Yay.
They are a wonderful program. I worked with Judge Carey. He's an amazing judge. He's an amazing person. Angela Schroyer, I worked with her. I give them credit as being people who helped save my life.
Yeah.
I got through that program successfully. I was still in that program when I started working in the field. So I had gone to Recovery Centers of America as a patient in the past, and I stayed connected with one of their alumni employees. His name is Vince. I know he won't care if I say it. He is also a wonderful person. He followed up with me after I left RCA, even through the struggles that came after that and my time at Karen and all those things. And he told me they were hiring for, they call them recovery support specialists there.
Yeah.
Entry level. He put in a referral for me, which is amazing because I was a patient at that facility and I wasn't easy to be around,
Right.
And he went to bat for me and he gave a good referral for me as an entry level RSS. I started on third shift overnight and I was able to, move up there quickly. I ended up taking another job at another facility. I was there for a couple months when I got a call from Angela with Drug Court, and they had decided to take me off of probation several years early because I was doing well. And I really started, it was around that time, and in this time frame, I'm running maybe 2 years in recovery, right around then. I'm not good with time frames. I really remember that being the time into my recovery where I started noticing the big changes, like not just the things that had come back the 2 years prior, the car I got back and the money I had in my pocket. Like, I wasn't struggling with mental health for the first time in
Nice.
20 years.
Wow.
I was like not stressing about everything. I was finding myself like feeling forgiving towards my family.
Mm-hmm.
And feeling really grateful that I had just gotten a call like, wait a minute, the judge and them, and they know all that stuff I did, and they're calling me and telling me they're letting me off probation early. You know what I'm saying? It was awesome. So I just kept doing what I was doing. And like, I'm feeling like at this point, like, why didn't I do this sooner? You know
Right.
what I'm saying? I'm happier than I've ever been. It just like rocketed from there. Like, it just skyrocketed from there. I focused on being the best version of myself that I could,
Aw.
being kind to people, trying to like relieve the world of some of the pain that I felt, because we all have daily stressors,
Yeah.
you know?
Say that again and kind of like revisit that. You were trying to relieve the world of
Yeah.
some of your stresses?
That's why I'm here. Like, that's why I'm here. I feel like I'm on this planet to just help everyone be a little better, feel a little better, like whatever I can,
Yeah.
you know? Somebody
like
did
that.
that for me.
Right.
You know, someone did that for me.
It's your way of
Every
giving back.
day, like, this pain became everything to me. You know, it is my purpose. It is my career. It is my life.
Mm.
It is the change, the perspective change was like, there's days it feels surreal.
Right.
To have seen the darkest places of the earth and then to feel this good now,
Mm-hmm.
is that even possible? You know, there's times I still question it. Like, is that possible in one lifetime for someone to
Aw.
do that? But then I'm like, hold up, a lifetime. It's only been close to 5 years that I
Right.
was able to make that change. So if
Wow.
anyone is listening to this
Which
and
they are.
and you have felt like there's just no coming back, I will like continue to dedicate my life to letting people know that you can come back from anything.
Yeah.
You can come back from anything. So I kept doing what I was doing. I noticed the universe rewarding me. You know, I was working hard. I was being kind. I was being honest. The rewards I got personally of just that heaviness that was lifted off my shoulders. Like, I didn't feel like I was walking around carrying a 500-pound bag of bricks anymore.
Wow.
Like, I just felt okay.
And okay, let's focus on that for a second. What do you contribute that to? Now, was that the people? Was that the timing? Was that your mindset? Because you're really, really excited about this, and I can see it in you, and I love it. There's so much passion there. There's so much passion about how far you've come. But I'm like curious because not everybody feels that way. You know, you have like this energy, which is, it's almost contagious.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And not everyone that comes in here is this like hyped about it.
It means a lot to me.
Right.
I think that just comes from the lifestyle. I was hurting people. You know, I was hurting people, and I had seen a lot of ugly things. And I just knew that I didn't want that to exist anymore. I was aware that like I single-handedly might not make all those things go away in the world, but if I could do something, I was so willing. Like, I was so willing.
Yeah.
And I don't know, it was like with every person that I tried to help, I was helping myself equally as much.
Oh, yeah.
But that was never the goal either. The goal wasn't to help myself at this point. Like, the goal was to help
Other people.
somebody else. Somebody did it for me, like I was going to do it for them. I firmly believe that, like, I was meant to go through all these things. People ask people all the time, like, if you could go back, would you undo it all? Like, would you just never have gone through those things? Like, not in a million years. They literally made me who I am today. And I'm proud to be this person, you know?
Say that again.
I am. Like, I'm proud to be this person. I truly am. Like, I'm a good mom today. I'm a good daughter, a good sister. I'm a good boss. My employees often tell me, like, we love you. Like, why
Aw.
can't
That's
we
awesome.
talk to you
She's
about
like making me
everything?
emotional.
And because my whole thing is we have to look out for each other.
Yes.
We have to. We can't do this alone. Life is hard. No one ever told us it was going to be easy. So even today, like, yes, I deal with struggles, you know,
Everybody does.
but I have already been through the worst of it.
Yeah.
Like, these things, we're going to get through these.
Right.
You know what I mean?
And you're making that decision every day for yourself.
Every day for myself, for my kids, and for everybody struggling still, because I see, so now, you know, I've been able to grow in the company that I'm in, and I can see things from like a bigger picture. Last year, we had thousands of people successfully complete our program that were still doing well at a 90-day check-in. So that makes
Wow.
me feel good.
Right. Well, and this is and all of the women that we've talked to, including you, we're realizing, and I want to like stress this to the people that are listening, recovery is possible.
Yes.
People like to pretend that someone who was addicted to drugs or someone that struggles doesn't have a future. And that's not true, because every
Not true at
single
all.
person that we have talked to for this podcast series has proven that theory wrong.
100%. Like, long story short, 5 years ago, I was doing this. Now I'm doing this. Like, this is who I am now. We're all human. You know, everybody goes through things. Everybody makes mistakes. Like, that does not define us.
But you put the work in it.
Yeah, 100%. Like, it wasn't easy. It was not easy. Like, you know, I didn't go through all the treacherous things here in detail, but there was so much work to be done. There was so much trauma to heal from. And, you know, today I can honestly say those things do not hurt me anymore. They quite literally just made me stronger.
Motivate you.
They motivate me. They made me strong. They made me be able to stand up for myself when it's appropriate, you know, things that I never was able to do before.
And it's helping you save other people's lives now.
Yeah.
Well, can we talk about the drug court program? Because
Yeah,
I don't know. I know that we have a very strong drug court program here, and I've seen women. We've had women in our houses that have gone through it and are on the other side, and they're successful and they're living their lives. But can you give a little just like a little, I guess, timeline or just description of what you had to accomplish to get to the other side of that?
Yeah.
You graduated from it, obviously.
I did.
Yeah. So what do you have to do? Because I know it's hard.
It is.
They're very hard on you.
And they will tell you right from the jump, this is a strict program. It is hard. This is the timeline, but it can go way longer if you're not doing what you need to be doing. So they're really honest from the jump. Like, the expectations are set, so you shouldn't go into it with anything less. I was in a situation where this program was offered to me instead of several years in jail. So, you know, at this point in my life, I'm hopeful enough that there's a chance. Of course, I'm going to give this an opportunity. You know, I go in, they're all so welcoming. They're all so understanding. You are nervous walking in. Of course, you're in a courthouse. You're somebody who is here because you did something you weren't supposed to. They don't make you feel that way. They make you feel like they care. They have the resources that you need because you can't do it by yourself, especially in the beginning, especially in early recovery. Like, it is okay to need help. Anyone that told you otherwise, like, they were misunderstood, you know? they provide the resources, they're kind, but they hold you accountable. So if you aren't attending the classes that you're required to attend, or the meeting slips aren't signed that are required, the urine tests aren't totally clean, even if it's not your substance of choice or whatever it is, like that is going to set you back in the program. Depending on what it looks like, it's a referral into treatment. It's a week back in the detention center. It's stronger stipulations, heavier stipulations, consequences to your actions, which is something that I realize now is so important to be understanding of. You know, there is consequences to our actions. In active addiction, do I believe that we lose a sense of choice? Absolutely. Do I feel like that means that we aren't responsible for the consequences that came with our actions during those decisions? I do not believe that.
Right.
We are responsible no matter what. And that was, you know, a big thing that I needed to accept to get to where I am today. I had to take responsibility for the things and make them right. So I had minor struggles in the drug court program. It didn't set me back much. I was able to complete the program in just over a year. When I completed, I was so proud of myself. They were so proud of me.
No.
There was times up on that stand where Judge Carey told me, like, he knew I was going to be a lawyer one day. That he knew that I was going to do something that was great, you know, and that resonated with me. So through like further years and advancing and helping people and collecting more resources and doing some of those things myself, I've always thought about him. Like, he was the first one that really said he knew I was going to do something good.
Aww.
And I think about that often. I have seen him out in public. I will always say hello and thank him. I'm lucky enough now to work with Angela. I work with her for referrals now in the program that need treatment. I have been able to employ people who have come out of the program successfully. So that's how much I believe in their program.
So what are you doing today? So you work in treatment.
I do.
And what is your role?
I am currently moving into the executive director role at Pyramid Healthcare. I started there as a case manager. I was promoted to director of intake after 9 months of being there. I was young and newer, but again, they said they had seen something in me that they felt like I would be a good candidate. I've been in that role for actually at 1 year in that role, I received the promotion to executive director.
Wow.
Nice.
At Pyramid.
Congratulations.
Thank you so much. I am so thrilled. Pyramid's a great program. I'm not here to like promote it or anything like that, but with my own personal goals and like my own personal beliefs, it all incorporates in like just wanting to help people, wanting to make the world better, help everyone feel a little better. Even if it's not, you know, to the extreme that some of us in active addiction have felt, like everybody needs a little support. You know?
And so now you have a family.
I do.
And you're successful on the other side of all of this. And I think that that's what we're really trying to convey to our audience with National Recovery Month, that recovery is possible. And even when it seems really hard, and I'm sure we have parents that are listening. I'm sure we have children that are listening because of their parents that are struggling. What do you have to say to them about their ability to change their lives?
Like I said, like I know it to be true so much that I will dedicate my life to spreading the message. Just for anyone to give up would be such a shame, because it could be right before the miracle. I see miracles every day, like literally every single day. I see a miracle, whether small or large. I see it. So like nobody can tell me that anything's impossible, you know? So for anybody out there that is listening, whether it is a child of yours or it is you personally, or you are struggling and your child is listening, whatever the case may be, do not lose hope. Do not lose faith.
And what's the first step? That if they are listening, then they need help. What would you say the first step would be?
Reaching out to somebody, even if right now you feel like you're not sure if you are struggling with addiction or not, if there's even the slightest inclination and there's feelings involved, reach out to someone. There's somebody out there that has been through this before you, and they're going to be able to help you.
And thank God there are a lot more resources out there now.
Yes. So many. Endless.
There is. And that's cool because 10 years ago, we were nowhere near where we are. So hopefully in another 10, we can reduce the numbers by just continuing to do what we're doing, continue to do what you're doing, continue to do what Rich is allowing us to do here, and just tell people that, they're worth it.
Yeah.
They're definitely worth it.
100%. I tell people almost on a daily basis that I will have someone in treatment sitting across from me, we're speaking, and I tell them you have no idea how great you can be, but you owe it to yourself to find out. You owe it to yourself. Even in those moments of early recovery, when you're still kind of focused on the people who have done you wrong and the people that have hurt you and the times where you were a victim, or at least I did in early recovery, at the very least, do it for you.
Yeah.
Nobody else had your back. Have your own back. You owe it to yourself to see how great you truly are. You don't know until you try. I didn't know. I had no idea that I was going to be someone helping others. I just thought I was always going to be stuck in this dark place, and, however many years I made it was just going to be it. So it changed my life. Recovery changed my life. I'm so passionate about it, like you said, because it seems surreal sometimes. It really does.
Let me ask, and I love asking this question because everybody that we've been talking to during this series, and even other people in the past, whether it be, mental health problems, addiction or whatever, they never really loved themselves.
Absolutely.
And I know it's hard to learn that too, but do you love yourself now?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I don't think anyone's superhuman.
Right.
I'm definitely not. So there's days where I'm harder on myself than I probably should be. I worked too many hours that day and didn't get to spend as many hours with my kids as I would have liked, or vice versa. It's hard to juggle it all.
But you still love yourself now.
I do.
Which more than when you were younger and going through everything.
I do. I do love myself. And I think what I love most about myself is that I'm happy with what I have, and I'm willing to give everything extra to help everybody else. I think that that's so important, because I think a lot of the things in the world that make life so hard, they're stemmed from selfishness and greed, and that's not what we were put here for.
No.
We were here to provide empathy and compassion for each other, and that's what I'm all about. I just don't think that there's anything going on out here that is big enough for us to be hurting each other over.
No, well, I think that this has been a perfect last episode for our series, to be honest. I really do. I do.
I don't know if I totally just ramble.
No, not at all.
Awesome.
No.
Thank you.
I love it.
It comes from the heart, though. That's what I meant. I did not
Bam! Bingo.
have any idea what I was going to say when I walked in the door.
And that's one of the reasons I love doing this. And if you notice, there's no papers in front of us. Nothing is scripted. When you talk from the heart, it's real. And that's what resonates with people.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm not even a crier. I am not a crier.
I am.
This is it's one of the only things that when I talk about, I get emotional.
Yeah. It is emotional.
Life.
It's very emotional. I mean, addiction can take you down places where you've never been, that your family's just, we never thought that was even possible to happen. And then to be able to turn around and be on the other side that much transformed is unbelievable.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you guys so
Thank
much.
you so much.
Madison, thank you.
I'm so glad I came.
I-
I was a little
Yay.
nervous, but
Aw.
I'm so glad that I came.
For everything even though I just met you, I'm very proud of you and
Thank you.
everybody that's been on it. I mean, the stuff that you all have been through and the lives that you're saving now is truly amazing. And I want to thank you for that.
And I want to say this too. It's like, when we say to come in and tell us your recovery story, it's not always telling us every single thing that you did that was wrong.
It's not.
It's really not. It's about more of like, I think you did it really well because you talked about how it made you feel.
Mhm.
Yeah.
It was all about how it's more of a feeling than an action.
I know now that that's what was most important. It doesn't matter if you were using in mom's mansion or if you were using on the streets and homeless for 6 years. The feelings are the same.
Yeah.
That feeling of just hopelessness, that feeling of like having no value, being alone,
Mhm.
those feelings, they hurt anyone equally. I always say that 100 people can be in the same exact situation. It doesn't necessarily mean that we're all going to feel the same way, but 100 people can be in 100 different situations and all feel the same way, if that makes any sense.
Yes.
Makes perfect sense.
So that stuff doesn't matter, which is why I choose not to go into too much detail with it in my story. The message that I'm trying to spread is it doesn't matter what you were doing, what drug, what alcohol, what thing, illegal, not illegal, if you had been arrested, hadn't been arrested, if you had a wonderful childhood or not, none of that matters. If you ever felt like you were at a place where you had to use a substance to numb out how you felt, then I want to help you.
And I think that you will. This is great. And we had those stories and we needed those as well. But this is just such a great place to land. Thank you.
No problem. Thank you guys so much.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Wendy, I understand that Rage Against Addiction is doing something very important, a monthly donor program. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Absolutely. We are hoping to get our supporters to join us in providing a monthly donation. It can be $5 or it can be more. Whatever you can afford really allows us to help plan and increase our fundraising efforts.
Well, why should people become a monthly donor? What are they doing to help?
Their monthly contributions let us plan for long-term projects and respond quickly when urgent needs arise. And I'll give you an example.
Mm-hmm.
We had the need for a new mattress.
Right.
And we've also had urgent needs for refrigerators and washing machines and all of that kind of stuff that comes up. So they tend to need to be replaced, and our women deserve to have the things that they need.
So with the monthly donor program, technically anybody can do it for any amount, and because Rage Against Addiction always needs something. And
Yes.
I've known you for years now, and there's times you've told me you guys needed furniture, you need clothes, and also you're not getting the grants that you used to or the contributions that you used to. So this monthly donor program would definitely help a lot.
Yes.
So if somebody becomes a monthly donor, is there anything that they're getting in return? Besides, of course, helping those that need it. I know you guys have an excellent newsletter. Would they automatically be subscribed to
we'll
that?
subscribe you to our newsletter so you'll know what's going on. You can kind of track our progress, hear success stories, know the data and how many women we serve each year, and just be a part of something bigger.
So with this too, I guess they're also going to be, because of the newsletter, they're going to be one of the first ones to find out about events coming up like the Memory Walk and Run, the Basket Bingo, and any other future events that you're doing, the podcast that you do.
Yes.
So they're going to be tied in right away.
Yes.
All right. So how can they become a monthly donor?
You can go to our website, and that is rageagainstaddiction.org, and go to our donate button And on there, you will have the option to become a monthly donor, and you can put in any amount that you want. Your commitment, big or small, empowers our mission and changes lives every single day. Visit us at rageagainstaddiction.org to become a reoccurring donor and join us in making a lasting impact. Thank you for your compassion, generosity, and belief in a brighter future. Together, we can make a difference. Join us today.